Hi guys, so the other day whenever I do my bread making videos, people have asked me about the soup that I had made on the side. Yeah, it's a side soup for the bread. But anyway, so I'm like, it's really easy, and so sometimes I type it up, but a lot of people ask, so okay, right now I'm heating up just a little stock pot, soup pot, whatever. It's kind of a smaller one because it's just really for my husband and I, the kids. Sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. This is something I'll make like once a week and I'll just keep eating from it like the whole week. So I'm heating up this pan. I don't normally put olive oil or any oil because I'm going to start off with some ground, obviously sausage, and I like to buy the kind that's just in a pack like this. I get the mild kind and I add my own little spice to it. If you don't like spice, don't add it. And then after that, literally it's whatever you want. The only other thing I think I add that's stock every time is diced tomatoes. I do like the Italian style just because it has a little bit of flavor. If you don't have diced tomatoes, use stewed. It doesn't matter. Just throw in a can of tomatoes, okay? This is a smaller can. I know with baking, obviously you want to be very exact, but with cooking, I don't care, whatever I have. So today I do have some yellow squash I'll throw in there. I usually start off with a little, oh, I didn't dice the onion. Okay, so onion, oh, I need to get that going actually. Carrot, I have, I'll show you what I have as far as carrots, like 2 or 3 celeries, you know, just sliced up. And then after that, again, whatever veggies you like, throw them in, but we can talk about that in just a minute. I do need to slice up or dice up some onion. I'll be right back. Piping hot, I'm sure. I diced an onion as fast as I could since I already turned the heat on. And this is why I don't add anything, because this is going to be hot as it is. And sometimes I rip it apart with my hands, sometimes I just pick it apart. What's funny is my butcher at my local Mexican market, I was buying chorizo the other day and I was like, well, just give me some of that loose one. It's like this. And he's like, oh yeah, and it was cheaper. And he mentioned something about, like, I usually buy it cased up, right? Like the casings. And he's like, oh, that's more expensive because of the natural casing they use. I'm like, I didn't know that. I always bought it and then ripped it open and threw out the casing. You know, I've never just used it. So anyway, I'm gonna brown this a little bit. I'm gonna turn down the heat and get it kind of softened, or get it going. I do want to add in my onion right now. This is half like a medium onion. If you like a lot of onion, do a whole one. Whatever you like, that's what you do. That's basically what this recipe is. So let me turn this down a little bit. And I'm going to start letting this fall apart a little bit. And once it starts breaking down a little bit, I'll add in some pepper flake, okay? So I'll be back. Okay, as I'm cooking that down, I'll go ahead and add just a little crushed red pepper flake. Again, if you don't like this, don't do it. If you like to use, and see, I just did some shakes. It gets really spicy for some reason whenever I put this in soup, so I always do a little bit. If you want to buy hot Italian sausage to begin with, go ahead. I don't know, I prefer to spice it up myself. So I'm going to keep doing that. If you want to add a little salt and pepper, that's fine. I'm going to do a little pepper right now. I'm not going to do too much salt, but I am adding potatoes, so I just put the littlest amount of salt because the potatoes need that. What was that noise? Something. Alright, so I'm going to cook this down until it's pretty much cooked through. And then I'll add in, well, that's not true. Hold on. Yeah, almost till it's cooked through. And then I put in the, you know, our Holy Trinity. We already have that in there. I do not have any garlic, which I forgot to bring out. So I'm going to, well, I just don't have any, but I forgot. I'll just add a little garlic powder. Normally I'll put like 2 or 3 cloves of garlic and leave them whole. I don't even chop them up because I like to find them later in my soup and just eat it. So again, I'm not measuring this. I'm just throwing some in there just to give it a little extra flavor. I'll probably let this cook for another minute or 2 because I do like the sausage to be pretty cooked down. Get all that flavor out, get it nice and browned. And then I'll add in the carrot and celery, but I'll be right back. It's almost cooked down. Now if your sausage releases a lot of oil, I would go ahead and just drain this off, you know, but I think that's enough just for it to be yummy. This is also how I start off my fake Olive Garden soup. Maybe that's another video I can do for you guys. So what happens is, after years of making, you know, soups that this and that and following the recipes, I'm like, they all kind of have the same kind of thing. You know, it's funny, this even popped into my head to do this today because I think Bon Appetit had an old video of, like, it says any greens, beans, and pasta to make a dinner. So basically, whatever green you have, whatever pasta you have, whatever beans, you know, canned beans you might have, throw them in and you make a dinner. So I usually chop up carrots, like, you know, little discs, like you would like on the cartoon when they make soup, where they always chop it up. These are just baby carrots I have that I need to eat up, so I just have like a couple maybe a cup or so of those. And then celery, I have 3 stalks that were little of just celery sliced up. And I'm gonna let this cook down a little bit. It doesn't really cook down, but I just like to get the vegetables kind of in here. Again, I didn't start off with any fat, but if you want to, you know, go ahead. But you might end up having to drain some off. So I'm gonna let that cook down just for a couple minutes, and that's just because I like to do that. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Let's talk about, you want some seasonings? You can put it on later, you can put it in now. I have some Italian seasoning, because the other thing, this already has Italian seasoning in it, basically, my tomatoes. So if you don't, then maybe you want to put a little extra. If yours do, you know, I don't measure this kind of thing. Like that much, maybe more. And I usually add in a little extra thyme because I like thyme. So I'm going to, that's rosemary, nope. Thyme, yes, here we go. Just because I like this, so I do a little extra thyme. You like parsley, you like some other whatever, oregano, throw it in. It doesn't matter. Alright, put that back. And I put it in now just because I want to, but you can put it in later. I just like it to kind of cook in with the other, with the oil, you know, just the oil's still concentrated right now, so like, just get that flavor going. Okay, I'll come back in a minute or two. We're gonna add in our tomatoes, potatoes, and water, and I use beef broth. You want to use chicken broth, you want to use veggie broth. I don't know why you would use veggie broth if you already have sausage in here, but you know, whatever. I use beef broth. So I'll be back, and I'm talking about bouillon and water, but I'll be back in just a minute. It's not really cooking the carrot and the celery. I mean, it's kind of wilting it a little bit. If I had carrot slices, they would be a little more cooked looking. So I'm just gonna throw in my tomatoes. I think there's anything else I usually put in. And then I cut up 3. I like to get all the tomatoes. I have 3 small-ish potatoes here, and sometimes I peel them, sometimes I don't. This is one of the occasions I don't, so there goes the potatoes with the peels, because get a little extra fiber that way, I suppose. And then just, well, I'm just going to use some bouillon, but this is beef flavor bouillon. I actually have some from the H-Mart. I wonder if that one's any better. And again, I don't quite measure, but basically you want a cup of water per teaspoon of this stuff, and I just like eyeball it, like that much looks about right? There's a tablespoon in my hand. And then I'm going to pour in water. You can start off with boiling water, that way it'll boil faster. This is cold water from the tap. I haven't even done dishes or anything to warm it up, so that's 2 cups. What I normally do is just put in enough to cover up the ingredients, right? So, and that's kind of where I end up just tasting it after a while. If it needs more bouillon, I'll add more bouillon, you know, whatever. So let's mix this in here. And you see this little thing is so full. I was just thinking, I need to use a different, I have so many stock pots, or, you know, just bigger pots than this. And I always go with this one, and I always max it out, because I'm going to add on top of this the squash. But I'm going to let this cook down for like 15 or 20 minutes before I add in the squash, because the squash only needs like 5-8 minutes to cook. So you don't want to put it in now, because it'll just be obliterated. But I used to, like in the summertime, I use zucchini, whatever squash, whatever you like. Don't use squash. Do whatever you want. One other thing I want to put in is these pierogies, because I have them. So we have a Mediterranean market nearby, and I buy pierogies. They sell them in a bag like this, and I think these are potato ones. So I'm not going to put too many. If it was the chicken ones, I'd probably put more, just because they're fun. If you want to put in half a cup of pasta, a cup of pasta, whatever pasta you like, you know, like elbows or shells or whatever, I'm just going to put in a few of these guys. So those do also take up more water after a while. They suck up the water. But those are frozen pierogies just because I like them. Do not put in pierogies if you don't have them or if you don't like them. It's just something we have and we like them to be in here. So I'm going to bring this to a boil. Just uncovered. You can cover it. I don't care. I mean, like, I just do what I feel like. Obviously covering it is going to make it boil faster, but I like to leave it uncovered, get it to a good boil. Then I'm going to cover it up and reduce the heat. Right now we're like on a medium-high heat, and I'll probably turn it down to like medium-low with the lid on it. And I'm going to let it cook down for about 15 minutes after it comes to a boil. So I'm going to let it boil, put the lid on, turn it down 15-20 minutes, about 15 minutes, and then I'll be back, okay? Okay, sorry I have my fan on. So yeah, it's come to a boil. If you want to wipe the little scum off the top, they call it scum, it sounds horrible, but you can do that. I just leave it, I don't care. I'm going to turn this down, and put the lid on it. And now again, I'll let it go for about 15-20 minutes. I don't want the potatoes to be super soft, so I'll check at 15 minutes because then we're gonna cook it for another 5-8 minutes, right, when we put the squash in. Any soft veggie like that that cooks up really quickly, or yeah, you want to put it in towards the end for the last like 5 or 10 minutes, right, of cooking. So you know, I've put lots of different things in here. If I have cauliflower, I'll put in cauliflower. If you like corn, put in corn. You like white beans, you know, like cannellini beans or whatever bean you like, throw them in there. Kidney beans, it doesn't matter. Whatever you like, put it in. I would probably drain the beans, or at least half of it. Sometimes it's nice to have the bean juice because it kind of thickens your soup. So it depends on what you want to do. I'd probably rinse them out though, and then put them in here. And then, you know, right now is usually the time I'll taste it, give it a little taste and see if it needs maybe more of the spices. Does it need a little more of the bouillon, which it did. So I add in probably 2 more teaspoons, mixed it in there. And that's all I need. If you want some more salt, pepper, that's usually when I adjust it. The potatoes are gonna suck in some of your salt, but I do it now. You can do it at the very end, however you like. So I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna set my timer for 15. The potatoes will probably still be a little bit, not all the way cooked through at that time, I hope. And then we'll throw in some squash, because that's what I have. Okay, I did turn it down just a little bit because it was boiling a little too hard. We're at about, like I said, I just kind of keep an eye out at this point. We're at about 13-14 minutes, and I need to add in my little squash. And the pierogies always float up to the top. They're so cute. I put it to the side. And this always ends up being like just completely full of vegetables and stuff. So sometimes I'll put both. This is a yellow crookneck squash. It was just one. It was kind of a big boy. But again, whatever delicate thing that you don't need to cook for too long, I would put it in at the end here. And kind of mix that in. I usually end up just sitting on top because I don't really like to squish the potatoes or anything. I try to be gentle. So they're kind of steaming on the top anyway. Oh yeah, the flavor is really good. Okay, so I'll put the lid back on, and I am going to turn it up now because it is kind of slowing down a little bit, so I'll put it back to a higher, I just had to turn it way down for the simmer, so I'm putting it back on a higher simmer. It's a KitchenAid thing. It has a bunch of weird dials, so I have low and high simmer, but then I also have low and high on the other side, so. Okay, so I'm gonna let that cook down, you know, 5-8 minutes, and then it's done. Okay guys, so yeah, my timer went off. So I usually just check to see if, so what happens is I like to make this really early in the day so that the flavors have time to kind of meld together, and by the end of the day it's like really good, and the next day even better. So I'm gonna reheat it again, so I don't really want the squash to get too cooked because then later it's just gonna be mush. So, but if you're gonna eat it right now, then obviously you wanna cook them down, but I can see that it's almost done. So I'll probably leave it 1 more minute. And then that's it. I'll have some pictures for you of the soup in a bowl there. I only have a focaccia bread right now, which is very thin, light bread. You know, I can eat it on the side, but I can't dip it like you would with a crusty loaf like I made the other day. But, so I mean, that's all the tips I have for you guys. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's really good, really yummy. Again, use whatever mix of things and pasta or beans or, you know, I usually go veggies, the meat. Obviously, we start off with that meat for the flavor. Tomato can, and then either those basic things of onion, garlic, carrot, and celery. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. And then from there, you know, if you're gonna put potatoes in, obviously put them at the beginning so they cook down real well. The pierogies are frozen, so they need to cook down real well. If you're gonna put in pasta, put it at that time too, just like I showed you. And then, like tomorrow, a lot of the times the pierogies and I don't know what else in here might suck it up, but it just sucks up a lot of the liquid. So I'll put some in a bowl, whatever's I'm gonna eat. I will literally just take a little bit of bouillon on a spoon and put it in the bowl, just like the smallest amount, not a whole teaspoon because that'd be ridiculous, but like 1/4 of a teaspoon, and just add a little extra water, kind of mix it in, and then I microwave it or heat it up if I'm gonna put it in a pot, a smaller pot, you know. And then that's good to go because you just got more broth and the flavor's already there and it's super concentrated, so it's just a little broth. If you just add water, it's gonna be really watery, so you have to add a little bit more of the bouillon. You know, again, if a lot of the water is evaporated by then, or not evaporated, but taken into these pierogies, they get really big after a while. They just like any pasta you put in a pot, it's gonna keep sucking up the juice there, or the liquid. So, very technical. This is how I do it. You guys had a lot of questions about it, and I said it's really easy, and I mean, that's basically it. But again, it just comes from years and years of cooking, and a lot of the recipes you can look up, like Italian sausage soup recipe or Italian sausage recipe, or, well, you know what the sausage, but you like that kind of thing. And they all start off about the same, so that's why I just end up doing my own thing, and there really are no measurements, it's just what it is. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all at the next one. Bye now.